we live? Now we are? Okay, great. So I want to start out by just telling you all the ideas I have to share tonight are very special, but they're not my own. Is that fair? Everybody get that? Okay, this comes from a gazillion years of reading and studying, okay? And this is just me just pulling together a few things that I've used personally, most of them, or I'm going to use the last one, and that's what I'm really special about. I'm really excited about sharing that so tonight because I think it's awesome. But over the last, let's say 25, 30 years, okay, and I'm not telling you how old I am, but the last 25 or 30 years, I've used most of these techniques on and off in different phases of my life, and I get real excited about sharing this kind of stuff. So who likes personal finance? You are one sick individuals, okay? One sick individuals. But we've got to, because you know what? You only have so much money, right? So your job is to kind of grow that stuff, take care of it, water it, let it grow, okay? That's part of our jobs in life. So who am I? Most everybody except for Laney over here has been here before, so y'all know who I am, okay? My name is Greg Lafferty. I've been in real estate for 20 some odd years, and I am a rocket scientist. So we're going to make math fun tonight because we are going to do some math, because when you're talking about personal finance and managing that kind of stuff, it takes a little math. So we're going to do a little bit of that, but I'm going to try to make it fun. Is that cool? Is that a good idea? Okay, we're going to do that. So here's my contract with you guys tonight. As always, I'm going to try to be freaking entertaining. Okay, I really am. I'm going to talk a little fast to keep the energy up. Last month, energy was way down. So we're going to change things up because you people were sleeping on me. Okay, we're not having any sleeper. If I see you sleeping, I'm going to wake you up. Stand you right here in the front, make you teach. Okay, so Bob, stay awake. I know this is late for you. Okay, so but also we're gonna provide you with some real shoe leather type tactics to get your finances in order. And so why do we care about this? Why do we care about personal finance? Remember, we always start with why, don't we? Every one of my presentations, I start with why. Who's read the book from Simon Sinek yet? Start with why. Come on, I gave you that as a homework last time. Okay, start with why. So we want to be intentional about a lot of things in life. And one of the things we need to be intentional about is how we manage our personal finances. Okay, if you fall asleep at the wheel, you're going to run into a ditch. Everybody get that analogy? Right? If you're driving down the road and you fall asleep at the wheel, you're probably going to hit something. The same thing with our finances. If we fall asleep at the wheel, it's not going to be pretty. So we need to manage our finances very intentionally. Okay? Because let's look at the stats. And this is where it's going to get a little fun and interactive. Okay? Lori has some gift cards. Okay? She has some gift cards. And I'm going to let you guys kind of guess and participate. And I get to choose who gets the gift card. How about that? Okay? I don't know, because it's going to be a little hard to guess some of these numbers. So maybe we just figure out who's closest. I don't know. I'll make it up. Okay? So who knows the Charlotte median income? 58,000? Who's got a better guess? 55? 65? 44? 61,000. Who was closest without going over? 58. I had a 58, didn't I? 58. There we go. 2 claps. 58. Woohoo! Okay. The average, the median income, median, meaning half above, half below, okay? 61,000. North Carolina is 50. Right? Judge yourself. This is not self-judge. This is a safe place, okay? But this is just setting a baseline. So when we talk about retirement and all that, I have to go to the median because I have to think that most everybody's kind of living in that number, okay? I don't like to live in that number. I like to live a little more, okay? But that's the number we play with. All right, average retirement income. This will make you scared. Ever been scared? S-K-E-D-E-R-D? Okay, scared. All right. How much income on average do we have per household? Give me a number. Huh? Annual. Give me annual. 21,000? 25? 32? 30? 22,000. Who was closest without going over? You or something. Somebody did their homework. But listen, average Social Security in that is 16,000. That ought to make you scared. Okay? And the next number, if I think it's the next one, let's see. Oh yeah, the next one will even make you more scared. Okay? So remember that number. Social Security pays you 16 on the average. The income overall is 22. What's the poverty level for Mecklenburg County? Huh? 17? This is a little bit of a trick question. 24? Family of 4, 24,000. A couple, when you retire, is 15. How much did you get from Social Security? 16. Just at the poverty level. Now that ought to make you scared. Okay? So who's planning on retiring just on Social Security? Yeah. Right? I'm going to be in a tent. Okay? Can't do it. Right? Who thought you could do it? Okay, go ahead, be safe. It's okay. Raise your hand if you thought you could retire on Social Security. Can't. Okay? Can't. So think about that. That's the poverty line. That means it's barely able to sustain life. Right? You barely make your rent, you have a place to live, buy food. Okay? That's what that means. Okay? Retirement savings. This ought to freak you out. Love these numbers. Look at this. The baby boomers who are retiring right now, they're in retirement, only have $147,000 on average. If they live at the average household income, they got 3 years, people. Right? 3 years of retirement if they use their own money. If they stretch the $22,000 out that they get, okay, that they stretch it maybe up to 50, and they got $30,000 a year, well, they got 5 years. They can live 5 years on their cash. I don't care if you make 100% interest on that, you ain't going to make it, okay? But look at this. The median savings, half above and half below, is only $60,000, okay? The mean retirement savings is $95,000. But the overall savings is 60. That's terrible. Terrible. Right? Terrible. T-A-R. Terrible. Okay, now listen. The amount of the U.S. population who do not have a retirement account, what's the number? 80% don't? 64? Okay, now let me back you up a little bit. Who sells the retirement accounts? Your employer, basically, right? So rethink that. A retirement account. Because everybody's a little high. 40? 35? 45? Go with Leanne. So 45% of all Americans don't have a retirement account. Okay? Now, I'm not suggesting y'all should go out and start a retirement account, okay? We got other methods to invest and other ways to generate things, but I'm just saying, like, let's plan ahead, people, okay? Let's plan ahead. Okay, let's look at this one. Credit card debt. Just, how much? 64 what? 64,000, you're a little high. 25,000, now it's not student loan, it's just credit card consumer debt. 12,000, 40, 27, 6,200, but the average, that's per person, the household is 15,000. Every household, on average, is 15,000. Up against a $50,000 a year income. Factor in housing, car loans, paying student loans. The list goes on and on and on. That is tough. Okay? And this is why. Out of every dollar they earn, how much do they spend? Give me a guess. $1.50? $5? $3? $2? Y'all don't have any faith in the American people. Okay, I got a 125, I got a 150, 175. Because remember, when you're throwing out these numbers, that means like 175, they're spending 75% more than they earn, right? I earn $1, I spend $1.75. So if they spend $2, they just doubled their pay and expenses. $1.33. Who said $1.30? Aha, $1.30. For every dollar they earn, they spend $1.33. They're spending 33% more a year than they make. That's before taxes. Right? Because they make $1, then they spend 30 cents for taxes. Right? Household, whatever, and then out of all those expenses comes up to $1.33. Woo! That's something. We're not doing that, are we? We're not doing that? Say no. No. Because if you are doing it, you stop tonight. Okay? That's what we're all about. We're stopping tonight. Okay? Half of Americans spend equal or greater than their income. Half spend equal or more. 18 to 25, 54% spend more than they make. Okay, so the younger ones. 1 out of 4 Americans has more debt than savings, more debt than cash. Okay, which in a business we call that illiquid. You can't sell everything and get all your cash back and you still owe more. Okay, that's not a great position to be in. You're upside down. Okay, so what's your goal? What's your goal? I want to throw this up here real quick because remember we're all goal-oriented, right? We are what oriented? Goal-oriented. Do we set our goals? Yes. Okay, so we've been talking about goals every month. Okay, so if our goal for retirement is the median income, $50,000, do a multiple. If you want to be 100, double these numbers. If you want to be 200, quadruple these numbers. Fair? That's why I did 50. It was kind of easy math. Okay, if you want to live on 25 and be close to the poverty line, go on Social Security and, okay, enjoy your drink. Okay, but that's not what we're here to do. So if I'm going to get cash return, you see that on the far right? Cash return. And that's different. This column right here, don't think about interest return. I'm talking about cash return. Greg, what's the difference? Well, if the stock price goes up, did that help me? No. Okay? I don't get cash. I have to sell the stock, and then what happens? I have less stock the next time I need money. Okay? No, I'm talking about cash, like dividends, rental income, things like that. I want cash back in my pocket. So in order to make $50,000 a year, I either need $1.6 million at 3% cash, or as my cash return grows, I need down to $500,000, but I can't be $150,000. Does everybody see that? I just can't. I can't support it. Now, Greg, why can't I just, why do I care about the cash? Why can't I just spend the $1.6 million? Why can't I? When it's gone, it's gone. Right? What's the number one concern for retirees? The number one concern, outside of falling, breaking a hip, getting pneumonia and die. Okay, let's put that way. Okay, the number one concern of retirees is what? Run out of money. I'm going to live too long. What's our health care doing? It's making us live longer, right? So when we get up to that age, except for Bob, he's there. When we get up to that age, okay, sorry, Bob. You're just a great guy. He's one of my buddies. Okay, when you get up to that age, that should be your number one concern. Now, was one of my friends. Now, I'm not concerned because I'm a man, and I'm going to die first. Okay, but my wife should be scared, right? I'm not concerned at all. Okay, I'm good now. I should have died at 21. Okay, so I'm on borrowed time. Every day I get up vertical, I am good to go. All right, so, but I can't live off the principal. The stock advisors and those guys want you to withdraw the principal at a nice slow rate because they want to bleed your account nice and slow, and hopefully inflation and everything else, stock market, all that stuff, they don't want to play that. They just want to leave it in there, and they'll give you 3% a year. But every time you take $1 out, you took the engine out of the car, right? So I would much rather have a bigger car, in the analogy, have a bigger engine in there, generate me a cash return, and leave the engine in the car. Is that fair? So this is what we've got to be thinking about. So when we're investing, when we're doing our diligence and putting our money away and investing, right, this is where we're headed. So set your goals. So, Greg, this is all great, but how's this going to help my business? Okay, how's this help my business? Let me tell you something. Go up to the bank and you try to get a $500,000 loan to do some rehabs, right? And they say, listen, man, you owe more than you're worth, and you don't make enough income, and your expenses are all out of whack. What are they going to say? No. Yeah. You're going to start talking, and their head's going to start doing like this. Okay, like the little rascals. okay? You might not know the little rascals because you've never used a fax machine, okay? Okay, but that's what they start doing. But if you come in as an educated, right, financial savvy person and you have your act together, their head's going to start moving the other direction, right? If you show them a good side, we're going to talk about balance sheets, income statements, all that, okay? If you come in with that laid out to them, they'll start nodding their head, won't they, Jenny?
Yes, they will, absolutely.
Because she was just doing this not too long ago, right? So that's why it's important. So you can poo-poo this and say, I don't care about my personal, I'm only worried about my business. The same rules apply. Spend more in your business than you make. How long is that going to last? Okay? How long does that last? Till you run out of cash. Okay? As soon as you run out of money, you might as well just close the door, lock it up. Okay? Can't do that. Okay? So let's take a look at these survey results. Who wants to see? Did everybody do the survey? Who did? Oh, come on. Oh, it's still loading. Okay. Well, that's all right. Don't do it now. We'll see what you're putting in because as soon as I load this thing, I'm going to see it. So I'll be like, oh, I know whose answer that is. All right. So let's see here. So, Jenny, how do I do this? Do I have to reload the page, you think? Where do you see that? Analyze responses. Let's take a look. This is cool, huh? This is real time. Okay, so here we go. Y'all ready? Yes. Do you regularly use a written budget? Looks like about 45% or so. Yeah, 44% says negative. Okay, not going to do it. You're going to. After tonight, we're going to. Okay? How much cash do you have available in a checking and savings account? It looks like probably, what's the yellow, Jenny, 20 and 50? Looks like everything, most everybody's underneath 50,000. Can everybody agree to that? Everybody's under 50,000? Okay, so is that good or bad? What was the median, do you remember? Median was about 60 nationwide, and we're below 50. We got to pump it up, okay? Okay, we're going to talk about cash versus investing accounts and all that kind of stuff. All right, let's see here. What is this one? What's the value of your investment accounts? Woo! Most everything's under 25,000. Got a little bit above 100, but everybody's, you got one above 500,000. High five to them. Woo, woo. 2 claps for them, whoever that is. Okay? Everybody else needs a little work. Okay? Everybody else needs a little work. All right, let's see what we got here. What is your total credit card balance other than or other consumer debt? Okay, and it looks like, see if I can get to like a number. What is this? Answered, we got 18 responses. The average number is 18. I don't know what the answer was. Oh, is it 18,000? Right. Is that what it is? So 18,000 in credit cards or consumer debt. Okay, we're going to talk about good debt and bad debt in a minute. So 18,000. How much student loan debt? Oh my gosh. Was that 9,000 maybe? On average? 90? Or 90,000, 9,000? Okay, I'm sorry. What is your approximate average household income? Okay, this is good. This is good. Looks like most everybody falls below 100, but we've got a little bit above 150, right? You've got 35%, but the bulk of it is underneath 100. Okay? Is that good? So there it is. So let's pick one. Can everybody remember some of these numbers? We got these in our heads, some of them? Okay? Good, because we're gonna plow ahead. So that's what the room looks like. So how do I get on the success train? Let's buy a ticket on the success train. Oops. Let me catch up. Leanne, did you like my animation? Missed it. Thank you very much. Sarcasm. All right. So let's take those numbers and let's talk about what we call a financial statement. Who's ever done a financial statement? Personal financial statement? Okay. Now, listen, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Okay. I study all kinds of teachers for finance. Some of the books I have up here, y'all can come and take a look at them. And I've got some resources on the last slide that talks about some of these books. Okay. When I was real young, I started studying Larry Burkett, who was a Christian financial advisor. He was like the plow guy that like cleared the fields for Dave Ramsey and some of those guys, right? So Larry Burkett actually worked at the Space Center before I got there, and then started Crown Financial Ministries. So that's still out there. Larry Burkett, great author, and then Robert Kiyosaki, which Rich Dad Poor Dad. Who's read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Okay, good book. If you haven't read it, you need to go home and buy you a copy on Amazon tonight and go read it. Okay, so I've got one copy up there, but don't take it, or I will slap your hand. That's my copy. Okay, but this concept is from Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, and he has a very simple way of explaining financial statements. So here's what he does. He lays out two little boxes. Can everybody see this okay? All right. This is all income and expense. This is more your financial, your income statement for any accountants in the room, and this is your balance sheet. Assets and liabilities. Okay? So in our prior example with the room that we have here, okay, our income was what? Let's call it maybe $80,000. It was mostly less than $100,000. Is that good enough? Okay, maybe $80,000 in income. Okay, we don't really know what expenses are. We can approximate it. My guess is it's probably about $70,000 in expenses. Okay, just guessing. Okay, 1.33 in expenses, right? Okay, so we had what was that, about $18,000 in credit card debt? Okay, right? $18,000 here. And then maybe about $9,000 in student loans maybe is another liability, okay? And then cash accounts, we had the majority is about $25,000 in retirement accounts, right? Wasn't that about $25,000? So about $25,000 there. And then there was a little small amount for cash, but it was mostly like in some ranges or something like that. So probably about, let's say about $10,000 in cash maybe, okay? Now listen. This is where it gets a little tricky. So let's talk about this a minute. Robert Kiyosaki is very, very clear in what makes an asset and a liability. Now, the accountants in the room would say these are assets and these are liabilities, incomes, expenses, right? Okay? So what are other assets? We already talked about, this is like a 401k, right? And this is maybe cash. Okay, those could be assets. Okay, this is liabilities. This is your, what did we say this was? Credit cards and student, right? Right? What other liabilities do we have? Mortgages. Let's break it down into classes. Okay, car. Let's talk about a car. Is a car an asset or a liability? Depends on how you use it. Tell me.
If you're using it for your work and it's actually a productive car, then it's what you have to use. So like if you're in business and it's your truck that you take around and you do your work with, that's an asset.
It could be if it makes you money.
Right. It has to make money. I mean, you can't be having a business.
That's right.
Killing like the 85% who die in the first year.
That's right. So an asset, and let's flip here. First things first. Oops, back it up. Okay, an asset, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. An asset makes you money. A liability costs you money. And we're going to talk about that. I want you to think about that, okay, just a little bit. Because we're going to talk about that some more. So first things first, how do we get this picture correct? Okay? You need a budget. Everybody goes, oh, I hate a budget. That sounds like rules. That sounds too strict. Okay? Spank your child and tell me if they didn't improve or not. Okay? Do they need rules? Okay, maybe don't spank them, stick them in a corner, make them hug a pole. I don't care, I'll spank them. Okay, so give them some rules. Y'all want to go make them hug a tree? That's fine. Me, spank them. They pay attention. Okay, that's right. That's what that big old butt's for. Okay, spank them. All right, so, but we need rules. We need discipline. Okay, now listen. The bottom little line is very, very important. Choose your hard. Okay, choose your hard. Is it going to be hard now or hard later? Do you want discipline now when you're young and you can take it? Or do you want discipline later when you're old and living in poverty and trying to wonder how you pay your medical bills? Or whether you're going to run out of money? Because it's going to be hard one end or the other. I don't care where. It's not easy. Right? Does everybody agree? Choose your. Who wants it hard today? Who wants it hard when they're old? That's what I thought. Okay? So don't tell me that a budget's not any good. Ask any major corporation and they run on a budget. Is that fair? If you're buying a stock for Coca-Cola, do you hope they're running on a budget? Okay, you do because you're investing in them, right? Well, you're investing in yourself. This is your business of you, the business of you. So run yourself on a budget. Okay? So here's a couple quick nuggets. I call it the 80-10-10 rule. What is it? 80-10-10. It's very, very simple. Kind of, Larry Burkett used to teach us all the time. Spend 80, save 10, give 10. Okay? Spend 80, save 10, give 10. 80, 10, 10. Everybody got that? We're going to save how much? 10. We're going to spend how much? 80. We're going to save how much? We're going to give how much? Okay? 80, 10, 10. Now listen, if you have nobody to give to, that's fine. Give it to me. Okay? Anybody tell you I am a nonprofit? Okay? That's fine. So go ahead and give it to me. I'll take it if you can't figure out where to give it to. Okay? And are we saving or investing? Let's get our language right. Okay? We are going to invest. Okay? Because frankly, I hate to use this slang, but savers are losers. Not because of their personality, not because of anything against them, but they're against inflation. If you get 1% in savings and inflation is 4%, you're losing 3% a year. Okay? So as investors, we're going to keep just bare reserves, okay, emergency reserves in cash. Everything else is going to be where? Invested. Okay? So spend 80, we're going to say invest 10 and give 10. Is that fair? Okay? Now within the 80, that's everything. Right? I mean, I'm talking about taxes. Okay? I'm talking about household. I'm talking everything. But the main concept is don't spend 1.33 on a dollar. Okay? If you could invest 20% and still give 10, would that be even better and live on 70? Absolutely. Now it's easier to do when you're single, footloose, and fancy free, okay, than it is when you've got obligations, aka dependents. Okay? Because you can't quite control how many diapers you need and all the other things. It gets a little crazy. It's also easier the more income you make. Right? As you get closer to the poverty line, what happens? Housing becomes a lot more percentage of your overall income. Okay, things get tighter. Right? So maybe when you're starting out, if you're making 30 or 25, okay, maybe you can't save 10 and give 10. Maybe it's 5 and 5 because housing and other numbers start to inflate inside that 80 and make it more custom like 85 or 90. Can everybody understand that? Okay, but the opposite is true too. When you're making 200,000, do you save 10? No. Right? Invest 20, 30%. Okay? Right? Does that make sense? Okay, as your income grows, you should be rolling that money back over. Hard now versus hard later. Okay, you're trying to accumulate as much as you can today so that with compounding interest tomorrow it's going to be better. You start as early as you can and invest as much as you can. Everybody understand that? Right? We talked about compounding interest. Okay? So here's a couple tools for you. Who uses QuickBooks or Quicken or some kind of tool to track your money? Okay? Powerful. Who doesn't like computers at all? Anybody? It's okay. All right. Larry Burkett used to teach this cool little thing called the envelope method. Okay? Get your paycheck, cash it. Can't overspend cash, people. Can't overspend it. You run out of cash, you're out of money. Okay? Cash your paycheck. Put it up into envelopes. housing, utilities, groceries, going out to eat, right? And break it out in the cash in these envelopes. When the envelope's empty, you're done. Is that fair? It's a great little system. When the envelope's empty, you're done. Then you have a choice. Okay, I need more money for utilities. Well, I got to rob the dining out envelope to pay my utilities, right? When the cash is done, you're done. Can't overspend. Is that fair? Everybody get that? Now, another method of doing that is maybe multiple checking accounts, multiple cash accounts. Okay? So, as soon as you get paid, you allocate 20% over here into another checking account. There's your give and invest money. Okay? And now my checking account really only has the 80. When it's down to a minimum balance, I stop spending. Everybody get that? That's just hardcore discipline. Hardcore discipline. We don't go to the gym and just talk to people, do we? You probably do. I can tell. You don't lift at all. Yeah, you're just texting. You're just sitting there texting. The barbell's going to move itself. No, you got to like push your muscles, right? It takes discipline. You got to beat it in there, okay? So you got to flex your muscles a little bit to get stronger. And that's what this takes, okay? Now, the other main tool is to track your money for 30 days. If you track that money for 30 days, what's that going to show you? Where it's going, right? Where the 1.33 goes, where the extra 33%, right? It's probably in some multiple Starbucks runs a day, okay, at $5 a piece for a cafe mocha latte da, okay? Hey, I'd get them too every once in a while. It's fine, okay? That's what that envelope's for. You got your splurge envelope, okay? Nothing wrong with that. So, but if you track your money for 30 days, you will be enlightened. Say, man, I didn't know all those Wendy's salads cost so much, okay? Lori laughed because I ate a Wendy's salad almost every day. That's not a plug for Wendy's, by the way, on the YouTube or whatever, but if you want to sponsor me, I'll do that. Okay, so, but choose your hard. Spend less than you make and invest the difference. Here's a couple little simple percentages. Okay, that's great. These are from Dave Ramsey, so knock yourself out on that. Compare what you spend to this. If you see a big divergent, okay, like it says 5 to 10%, you spend 15 or 20, you might want to check that. Okay, these are kind of good guidelines. Is that good? This might be in your handout. There's handouts on the bar, by the way, but you can take my picture. It's my best side. So, yeah, here we go. Little quick selfie kind of thing. Hey, how you doing? See, isn't this fun? All right, I told you we were going to try to spice it up tonight. I didn't know it was going to be a guy to hug me. All right, so that's okay. All right, so listen, this is the balance that we have to have, okay? We only have two main numbers, what we make and what we spend. In order to fix our habits, what do we got to do? Spend less or make more. That's it, right? It's not that complicated. Spend less, make more. You notice I put the balance on this side so income was heavier. That's the goal. It's not to be even. If you spend all that you make, what do you got? Nothing. Okay? Be the old empty pockets guy. Okay? Either spend more, make less, okay, or spend less, make more. One or the other. Right? Has everybody got that? Simple. Simple. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this sheet here. Assets versus liabilities. Because this is a mind shift, people. This is a total mind shift. This is different than what we're taught in school. This is different than what our parents taught us. Okay? I walked up into a car lot in my 20s, and some guy says, well, this car would be a great investment. I'm like, now granted, he's the car salesman, so of course it's an investment for him, right? If I buy a car, he gets paid. Okay, that's a good investment for him. Okay, but I had to think about it. I looked at him, and I was a snot-nosed 20-something, and I said, it depreciates by 30% when I roll it off the lot. How is that a good investment? He goes, well, you'll look good in it. Oh, okay. Okay, it's an investment in my looks. Why don't I get a nose job? I mean, come on. All right? So it's not an investment. So like you said, a car, if you're an Uber driver and you make money with your car, is that an asset? Yeah. Everybody else, not so much. Okay? Thing goes straight to the floor. Okay? It's a liability. Is our house an asset or a liability? What do our parents teach you? It's an asset. Our parents teach us an asset, right? Best investment you'll ever have. Okay? If it's paid for. Okay? It's a liability. Does it make you money? It's upkeep. Taxes, insurance. Now you put about 100 tenants in there in that building, okay, right? Then real estate becomes an asset, right? But if you're just living in it, it's a liability. Now let's be real. You have to have a place to live, right? We can live in a tent. Most of these people can't, okay? They're not going to do that, all right? So you have to have a place to live. There's going to be an expense. My point is, though, when you make these decisions, think of it in real terms, okay? Do I rent or do I buy my own house? Right? Could I rent it for cheaper than my overall cost per year? Taxes, insurance, maintenance. Could I take the 20% down payment, 10% down payment, and reinvest it for a better return to make that money generate assets? Ooh, things to think about. Okay? Things to think about. Assets versus a liability. Give me another asset. A rental house, right? What else? Some kind of investment real estate. Is land an asset? Does it make you money or cost you money? While you're holding it, I guarantee it costs you money. You got property taxes and all that stuff. One day you hope to sell it and make you money, okay? But from a cash flow perspective, because what an asset is supposed to do is throw out cash. This is all cash flow management. Everybody say that. It's all what? Cash flow management, okay? Because a liability comes straight to the expenses and out. Doesn't pass through income. Okay? It goes straight out. An asset comes up here. Most people, when they have a job, what do? They make money and they spend money. Is that what we do as a job? They spend 1.33, don't they? For every dollar. Okay? They make a little, they spend a lot. Is that wise? No. What we ought to do is take our income and buy assets, which then gives us cash flow, more income. That's what we ought to do. Okay? So assets earn money, liabilities cost money. The wealthy focus on buying assets. That's what we're here to do. Here to buy assets. Look at this from Robert Kiyosaki. The poor have expenses. They just have bills. They make a little money, they pay a little money, there's nothing left. Okay? The middle class buy liabilities thinking that they're assets. Look at my new car. Look at my new $300 Air Jordans. Right? They think they're assets. Look at my new TV. Right? They think they're assets, but they're really what? Liabilities. Wealthy, on the other hand, buy assets that generate cash flow. Okay, so we want to minimize the liabilities and we want to maximize the assets. Okay? This is your biggest asset. Right here. Okay? We've got to fill our mind with good stuff, right? Okay? We've got to fill our mind with good stuff because education, and I'm not talking about reading, writing, arithmetic right here, okay? I don't really care when Washington crossed the Delaware. I'm sorry, Miss Teacher, okay? I'm talking about good financial education. I wish you could have taught us this in school. I really do. Okay, this is probably better than when Washington crossed the Delaware. Although that was very important, I've used it very rarely in a conversation except for today. Okay? So, look at this quote. I read this. This was profound. As a property manager and owner, this is real. Okay, read it. The smaller the house, the bigger the TV. The bigger the house, the bigger the library. Okay? I've gone into 800 square foot apartments and got a 72 incher sitting there. Okay? And I'm like, Shazam, dude, you owe me $500. It costs you $200 a month in TV bills right there, man. You got cable, all the ESPN channels and everything. How about cutting the cord on that thing and pay me my rent? Because that's going to take you 3 people to carry that thing out when I evict you. Okay? You think I'm lying? Yeah, I say that. Okay? Because it's real. They're like, yeah, it's going to take me 3 people. I'm like, yeah, you probably ought to give me the rent. Okay? So, but this is very, very true. Okay? This is very, very true. You got to educate yourself. Right? All right. So, look at your neighbor, give him a high five, and say, I love a budget. You didn't do it. You didn't do it. You're killing me. You ain't following instructions. I love a budget. Hey, listen. Hey, listen. I'm drinking my second Red Bull. We're good. We're going to turn it up a notch. Gives you wings. Okay, so listen. Here's the other thing out there. There are certain teachers out there. Dave Ramsey, love Dave Ramsey. Okay? Dave Ramsey and Larry Burkett both, well, not like personally. Not personally. Okay, I'm a fan of. How about that? Well, yeah, I'm a fan. Okay, I got a man crush. All right, so listen. They would preach, cut up your credit cards. Okay? But listen, I want to be very clear. Okay? When you're on talk show Sirius Radio, and when you're on TV, and when you're on YouTube, you have to talk to the masses. Fair? Who do you talk to? The masses. Are we the masses? No. Okay, are we smarter than the average bear? Yes. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, on the other hand, would say, hey, listen, there's good debt out there. Don't cut up your credit cards. That's silly. Okay, but when you're running against people that they don't have any self-control, right? And as soon as they pay down a credit card by $500, they spend $1,000 because they're spending 1.33 of their dollar. Okay, yes, they should cut up their credit cards. Is that fair? If you're that person, you should cut up your credit card until you get yourself some sense. Okay? But there is good debt and bad debt. There's what? Good debt and bad debt. So what's good debt? Buying assets. Right? Is mortgage for my house a good debt? Remember, is mortgage for my house a good debt? No. Right? If it helps me buy an apartment complex, however, that's fantastic debt. Remember, we talked about this. We're borrowing money. We're leveraging that money, other people's money. We're going to leverage it. Our returns are going to go up. Okay, that's good debt. Buying a 72-inch TV, is that good debt or bad debt? Unless you're going to earn money on that TV by selling time watching TV in your 400-square-foot apartment, okay, share your couch for time and money, that's a liability. Right? Unless you're going to do that. So, but leverage can increase our returns. So don't cut up your credit cards unless you can't control yourself. If you can't control yourself, absolutely, man. Cut up the credit cards. Give it to me. Let me spend them. Okay? That's funny. That's funny. Okay. So here's how we handle credit cards as a mature adult, very educated in financial responsibility. Okay? As opposed to the 20-something like I was. Okay? And I ended up with about $60,000, $70,000, I don't even know, that was a big number, okay, of credit card bills. Now that was good debt. That was good debt because it was carpet, refrigerators, flooring, all that stuff for apartments. When I did that, if y'all missed my story last month, that's the story, okay? But still, it was overpowering me, okay, because calculating a monthly payment on a credit card of about $60,000 didn't quite compute, okay? But credit cards can be great to organize expenses, right? Who's got a business credit card versus a personal credit card? Get one if you don't have one, okay? Organizing tax type expenses versus diapers and milk, okay? Good to do. Organizes expenses. Lori laughs at me when I break out my wallet. It's so thick from receipts and credit cards. Yeah, so, I don't know, maybe it's in here. This is my George Costanza wallet. Okay, if anybody knows George Costanza from, what was that show, Seinfeld? Okay, but see, I got credit cards for every company, right? Got credit cards for every company, got stuff for work travel versus personal, okay? And then all this has got to fit in here. It gets a little tricky, okay? And then you get receipts. But you know what? That helps me stay organized. And then I give all the receipts to my peeps, and they float it all out and cuss me all the time, okay? Then I make them scan them all. Scan them into the computer, right? And they're like, wow, this is awesome. All these receipts crumpled up and wet and everything else and just all in there. So, but listen, if we're buying expenses, right, if we're covering our expenses, do we carry a balance on our credit cards? Do we carry a what? A balance? No. No, pay it off every month, people, right? Only spend what you make or less, right? That's our goal. So we should have cash waiting for that bill to come in, and we should pay that thing off and be done. Okay? We'd rather not pay interest on expenses because expenses are bad debt. Okay? We're not going to carry a balance. We're not going to go buy that widescreen TV and then pay more for it because we're paying interest. That's silly. Okay, we're not going to do that. Now, if you're doing that right now, I'm sorry. I'm just beating on you. Okay, if you feel beat up, I'm the preacher. Okay, that's fine. All right. Now, listen, here's a little quick trip. Get a credit card that gives you stuff that you like. Right? How many thousands of dollars are we spending at Lowe's and Home Depot every year? We'll go through a rehab. It's $50,000 rehab. How much of that is bought with tubs and toilets and sinks and everything at Lowe's and junk? Okay? Now, Lori and I are a little different because we're partners, okay, in the business. We're not married, so we got to kind of segregate some of that. It's hard to split an airline mile, okay? But if I was a sole proprietor, that's what I would do, okay? How do you think I buy these clothes? You think I just go to the store and buy them? Mm-mm. Nope. Got a Brooks Brothers gift card in the mail every month, okay? They give me a $20 gift card for every $2,000 I spend on my credit card. I stack those things up. I wait for a half off sale, and I walk in with my stack of gift cards. Buy me some new shirts, new suits. It's awesome. My company refunds me money for traveling. So my company paid the credit card bill and all those expenses that I ran through there, and then I get the gift cards for free. Is that awesome? Okay? But that way I can two claps. Woohoo! All right? I travel too much to want airline miles. I don't want to go anywhere. I'd rather go to Canes and Walker's and eat dinner. Okay? I'd rather be at home with my feet up. Okay? But I have credit cards for airline miles too, and that's great. Hilton points, Marriott points, all good stuff. Okay? So get something that you like. But if you get a 2% rebate on your construction expenses, you just earned 2% more margin on that project, didn't you? Is that 2 claps or what? 2 claps. So think about that, okay? So that's a good takeaway? Yeah. But discipline is the key, because if you overspend, you'll be in a mess, okay? And you'll be like me, trying to figure out how to repay $60,000 in credit card, okay? So what if we are in that bait? Okay, let's talk about that. I know in this room we have credit card balances because we proved it with a survey. Okay, so I'm about to help you out. So this is a great technique that Larry Burkett used to teach, and there's others that have taught it over the years. But listen, if you've got one credit card balance, you probably have several. Is that a fair statement? Okay, if you have one, you probably have several. I was shuffling money from credit card to credit card at one time. Okay, I'd take a credit card advance off of this one to pay the minimum payment on that one. It was nasty. Okay, it was N-A-S-T-Y, nasty. Okay, but this is how I got out of it. Look here. Here's what I did. First of all, I wrote it down. Okay, I listed all my cards, and I listed my balance, and then I listed my interest rate. Why do I want to know this right here? Right? Yes, I know how to handle it. Do I care necessarily about the minimum payment, monthly payment? Not necessarily. Okay? Because this is what we're going to do. Let's say we have an Amex, maybe we have a Visa, and there might be multiple Visas, whatever, and a MasterCard. Okay? If I have one with a $500 balance, and then two with a $1,000 balance, I'm using small numbers here. Okay, and this one's 10% interest, this is 18, and this is 21. Which one do I do first? Aha. Okay, here's where the theory's starting to diverge. Some people would say, hit the highest interest. Okay, and there's good justification with that. Okay, if I had $1,000 in my pocket, I would hit this one first. But if I only have $100 in my pocket, I'm going to hit the small one, right? Because as soon as I get rid of this puppy, its minimum payment goes bye-bye. In cash flow management, that's important, right? Because I had a cash flow negative coming out of here every month, and now I paid it off as fast as I could. I focused on it. I paid the minimum payments for these guys. It's gone. Now I have extra cash. Is that fair? I have extra cash flow. So now I can take the money I was paying there and loop it on the next one. The next one I would probably, since the balances are the same, I would go to the highest interest. Okay? So this would be number 2. And so I take the cash flow I'm saving by not having a minimum payment here, and I would take the extra money I was putting on it, and I would put it on here. Then when that was done, I roll it to this one. James? Yeah, speak up. That's right, and that's a good point, James. So like, there's all kinds of other negotiating strategies on credit cards. Like, can you call and get a, hey man, I'm about to write you a check, let me settle up. You know, yeah. So you can negotiate a lower interest rate, maybe even a lower payoff. Okay, I just got an inheritance, right? I just got an inheritance. He lent me some money. I inherited it from him. I got an inheritance. I'm about to pay some of you people off. Okay, so who can I pay off? Would you drop my payment down? Okay, and I'll give you this much today. That kind of stuff. There's all kinds of negotiations you can do. Without doing that, this is how I would approach it. Is that fair? Does everybody like that as a good tidbit? Okay, let me take it one step further. What if, well, let me leave this here. What if I get one of those intro offers? 0% balance transfer for 6 months. Ooh. I don't care. Whatever it is. Okay? How much can I have? In this scenario, how much can I have? I want as much as I can pay off before the interest jumps. Okay? So listen. So let's say I've got $2,000 at 0%. What's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to come here and I'm going to pay $1,500 and $500 off of here if I can repay this guy before the interest jumps up to 30% or something crazy. Okay? Right? Does everybody see that? So what I just did was, instead of a repayment acceleration, I did a balance transfer. Okay? I slid it over here because more of my money goes to cover the nut. Does everybody see that? And I can make those payments at 0% and just make the minimum of that last little bit over here.
You also improve your credit score.
I'm also improving my credit score because I'm paying this timely. Yeah, it's gone. That's right. Well, yes and no. I'm making good on my money. But then there are also, who goes figures Equifax? My gosh, that thing's crazy. Okay? Sorry. All right, so I don't know, to be honest with you, okay? But I never closed one, and my score is over 800. So I don't know. I've never closed an account, so I don't know.
What I heard is that you never close a credit card account on your own. They can close it because of inactivity.
Oh, okay. So let it close for inactivity. That's
So, all right, so the question was, should I ever close an account once I get to zero balance? I don't. I got a great credit score, but the other reason is I'm a little selfish. I might need that one day. Remember, I'm disciplined. You're disciplined, right? I don't cut up my credit cards. I just save that thing for a rainy day, right? What if things get a little tight and I need that? What if I want to go buy a duplex with a credit card? Right? I got plenty of them. Let's go. Let's go get it, right? Good debt is good, okay? So I don't cut up my credit cards, and I don't close my accounts. So does it affect me? Does it not? I don't know. I got over an 800 credit score. I have no idea, okay? That's the way I do, okay? Is that good stuff? Something you can use? Okay. Got a question back here? Good deal? Okay. Now, how's my time doing? Jeannie said that I had a curfew tonight, so I had to be finished at a certain time. I just can't just stay up here and talk. Okay. So listen, what about my mortgage? Is a mortgage on a house good debt or bad debt? Pretty much bad debt. Okay? But listen, you got to pay a house payment somewhere. You got to pay rent, you got to pay a house. Okay, so everybody gets that. But listen, why do we want to pay $180,000 for a $100,000 house? Just tell me. Why? Right? Because over 30 years, a $100,000 loan is $170,000 in payments. I've done the math. Trust the scientist. Okay, I've done the math. All right? So let's look at this. Here's a big trap. This is a foot stomper, and I want y'all to pay careful attention Because this is what we do. Because this is what we've been taught. Okay? We have to get out of the mindset from interest rate to interest cost. From interest rate to interest cost. We'll let that sit in a minute. Greg, what's the difference? Okay? Interest rate is how it's calculated. Interest cost is what you actually freaking paid. Okay? Because there's fees, there's other things in there, right? It's compounded. So they would like us to refinance, and most of us do, every 5 to 7 years. Or we sell our house every 5 to 7 years. You might as well rent, people. Right? Because you're not getting any principal reduction. Remember, this is the principal reduction map. Remember we looked at this the other day, right? A month ago, we looked at this. The first several years, there's very little principal coming down on our house. Okay, very little. All we're paying is interest. But what do the banks do? You know, if you refinance now, we'll take a 0.5 point off in your interest rate. And we're like, Shazam! 0.5%. I'm bound to be saving some money. This is what they do. Okay? This is the chart we have on the board, right? Something like this. You get about 5 years in. Sorry, this is going up. That's not quite right. Sorry. That's the anal retentive side of me. Okay. You get about 5 years in. You've paid almost zero in principal. Let's call it zero for grins. Okay? And then they say, why don't you refinance? So what they do is they add in some fees to suck up all the principal you done paid. And then they stretch you out another 30 years. But wow, you are saving in interest. No, people, you just paid all this extra. You paid 5 more years of interest. Congratulations, high five yourself. Say, hey, slap your neighbors and say, I love to refinance. High five. Okay? Okay, now listen. If you feel compelled to answer the phone and Wells Fargo says, I'd like to, before we get sued by 1 million people, I'd like to sign you up for a refinance. Okay? Here's what you tell them. Okay, look, I'm already at year 5. That's fine, but I'm doing a 20-year AM. And I'm actually 5 years ahead. Or a 15-year AM. Now listen, if you balance the interest rate reduction with a shorter amortization and your payment stays the same, did you win? You might have paid some fees, but you won. Your total interest payment would be a lot less. Okay, your payoff sooner. You won. But if you sit there and go, man, my payment's going to go down, that's awesome. They just kissed you goodnight. Okay, congratulations. You got to kiss the pretty girl at the end of the dance. Okay? So you just got to pay 5 more years worth of loan. Cost you a fortune. Everybody feel good about themselves? Who's done that? Go ahead, confession. I've done it. Okay? I've also done this and walked it in. Okay? And that's okay. Right? But these are concepts we have to change our mindset because, you know what, our parents don't understand it either. The schools don't teach it. We got to learn ourselves, right? Everybody get that? Okay? And we've talked about this, right, where interest versus principal, right? This is that same $100,000 loan, 30 years. It doesn't really even cross even Steven until about 154 payments. And then you start really catching up. But before that, all the interest was all front-loaded, right? I mean, most of your payments all interest. Very little is principal. It doesn't cross even Steven until way out here. 180 payments is 15 years, right? I'm sorry, I got a lot of feedback. Sorry. All right, so it's 150 payments. Wow, that's awesome. Okay, but that's how they get you. Bob, did you have a comment? Okay, you started to. Okay, so the goal here is not to minimize the interest rate. The goal is to minimize the interest cost. Okay? Now, if you can do both at the same time, that's great. Like if I'm about to buy a new house, am I thinking interest rate at that point? Right? Yeah, if I could get something at 0.5 point lower or 1/8 point lower, yeah, I'm going to go for it as long as the loan fees don't wipe it out. Okay, so we're going to look at the APR, the annual percentage rate, where it rolls all the loan fees together. I really don't care about the published rate. I look at the APR, okay, because that's where they incorporate all the fees, okay. But our goal is to minimize interest cost. So let's talk a couple strategies. The first strategy everybody should kind of know, okay, and that's to add a little extra. Everybody know this one? Add a little extra. So let's take a look at that. What does that look like? Okay, so if we do a little extra, just a little, I want to put real numbers to this, guys, because this is amazing. When I learned this when I was 20, I thought I died and gone to heaven because I had no idea. This was awesome, okay? If I just take, and I borrow $100,000 at 4%, 30 years, okay? I'm going to spend $71,000 in interest. That's the cost of money. For holding their money for 30 years is $71,000. So that $100,000 house is increasing by so much percentage a year, maybe, maybe not. I paid $174. Congratulations, high five. Okay? For a liability, I paid more than it's worth. Right? High five. I love buying liabilities. Slap your neighbor on the back of the head. Okay? No, I don't. All right? So listen, if all I do is add $100 extra a month, I save myself about $21,000 in interest. Just with $100. Who thinks they can save $100 a month somewhere by not going to Starbucks and add it to their principal payment? Is that a good nugget? That's real math. Okay? So now, turn to your neighbor, high five, say, I love extra payments. Go ahead. I love extra payments. High five. All right. I love wings too, but messy wings and extra payments are a little tough. All right? It also reduces, right? It reduces 7, 8 years off my payment. So I'm done 8 years ahead. Is that good? Who likes to do that? Is that good? Now that's 100. Who's got 150? 150, 150, 150, 175, 75, 75, 200. Right? I mean, right? What happens? That thing starts to walk this way. The more you throw at it, the better it gets. So here's a budgeting secret that we didn't cover during budgeting. What if you're about to get married? Or what if you're newly married? Now, none of us are in that category necessarily. But what if you establish, even as an older person, to establish a budget on one income? Powerful. What if I use the other income for investing and debt reduction? Powerful. That's how I got out of $70,000 in credit card. Right? We were down to one car. We lived in a smaller apartment. We just got married, and every dime I made went to this until we were done. Then we could go out and eat. Right? Okay? You just laser focus on it, get it done, and get it gone. Okay? This is powerful. But that's a great budgeting technique if you can do that. Okay? And we still do that. My wife and I, we pretty well just live on my income, and everything she makes just goes to investing or whatever she wants to do. Is that good? Okay? Because then if I actually send her to work full time, because she kind of works part time, she's in the reserves. Okay? Hey, honey. Okay? She's full time now, right now, in Miami. Has been for 5 months. Okay? But if I send her to work full time, why do I need to save for college? Why do I need a 529 account if I could put her to work and make money right when the boys go off to school? Why do I give all my cash to something that doesn't earn any interest, right? And I invest it in real estate and pay on that. Think about those concepts. Okay, if you got a secret weapon like that, that's powerful. Okay? That's the part about not living on 1.33 of what you earn, okay? You can do that. All right, so next concept. We talked about this last time. Same kind of thing like what we did in credit card bills, we can do here. Okay? This is your investment portfolio where I'm taking extra principal payments and pounding it on one rental property until it's gone. And then I turn around and all the cash flow, I pay on the others. And I take one at a time and I laser focus. Every time I eliminate a debt, I'm taking that extra cash flow and rolling it back on it. Is that good? You like that? Y'all remember this from last time? That's powerful. So who started doing it since last time? Anybody? Bob? Good. Awesome. It's good stuff. Now listen. I'm going to drink a little bit of Red Bull real quick. Because this is going to be good. Now listen. I want you guys to do one thing for me. I want you to take a step back, figuratively, out of the clothes we've always worn, understanding about finances and banking, and I want you to put on these new clothes that I'm about to give you figuratively. Please don't take off your clothes. It's not what I said, okay? Because this I just found. This is not a new concept, okay? It's been out there a while, but this made me giddy. Ever been giddy about something? Oh, I got to share this, okay? And I came to our office and I started drawing it on the marker board, and Jenny's like, oh, this is awesome, okay, right? So this is cool stuff, okay? It's very complicated. So is everybody good? Can I have permission to go a little bit longer? Everybody give me permission? Okay. Because, guys, this is powerful. Now, listen, I didn't come up with this here again. I didn't come up with it. It is all over YouTube. If you want a better explanation, there's some people out on YouTube that walk real through it. You can spend an hour watching them talk through it, okay? They either call it paycheck parking or velocity banking, okay? So here's the concept. You ready? Everybody ready? Y'all got y'all's Red Bull? Because it's going to be deep. All right, here we go. Now listen. When we were young, and we, do what? Oh, I thought I heard something. Sorry. Woo, woo. Somebody's talking to me up here. Y'all settle down. No heckling in the audience. All right, now listen. When we were young, and we earned that first dollar, our parents took us to the bank. Mine to the State Employees Credit Union, went and set up a Manford account, okay? If y'all knew what Manford was, that was their little mascot, okay? And I learned that there was a bank. And we had two types of accounts. We had checking accounts, and we had savings accounts. Now, when we're young, we didn't have checking accounts. We had savings accounts, right? Okay. So we have a bank account. Here it is. This is my best drawing. I'm an engineer, people, not an artist. Okay, can we get that? This is not a rocket. Rockets are about shaped that way. That's why I went into rocketry, not in airplanes. Okay, because you can draw a rocket a lot easier. Okay? All right, so listen. We have a bank, and we have a savings account and a checking account, right? Now, when you earn income, what happens? Where does it go? When you get paid? Right? When I get paid, it does like this. When I pay a bill, what happens? If the bills, this is where I'm going to get mathy, are less than the pay, everybody remember that from the 8th grade or whatever? Okay. If the bills are less than the pay, I get a little extra in my savings account. Right? Could leave it in checking. Let's not be tricky with it, okay? Don't heckle me, all right? But the goal is to put it in savings account, where to, if you're really, really lucky, you get 1% interest. Woo, woo, okay? I'm excited about that because I'm an investor, not a saver, okay? 1% interest. Now, here's where the mind shift occurs. This is what we've all been taught, right? Has everybody been taught this? Something like this? Okay? Now, hopefully you don't have overdraft junk going on, okay? Bills are less than the pay, okay? 1.33, okay? Don't live off your credit card. Okay, now listen. This is where it gets different. There's another account that the bank has that some of you might have already used before for other reasons, okay? This is called a line of credit. It's a revolving line, okay? It means I can take money out, I can put money back, I can take money out, I can put money back, okay? And this is, you got to pay some interest, and generally, this is simple interest on the average daily balance. Now, if you have, who has a home equity line? Anybody? That's this. Congratulations, you already have one. You're halfway there. Okay? Woo, woo. Okay? Now, what if, can I pay my bills out of a line of credit? Can I pay my bills? I write a check. Okay, follow me. Say yes. Can I pay my bills? Don't get picky. Can you? Because we're about to break the mind of should you. Okay? Can you pay your bills? Yes. Can you take your entire paycheck and put it in here? Can you? Yes. Do I have access to the difference? Yes. Just like here, I have access to the difference. So if I have $2,000 available on my line of credit, do I have access to it just like I do if I have $2,000 in my savings account? Yes. You starting to see the mind shift? Okay? This is where I'm going. So follow me. Are you ready? You on the train? You follow me? I have a line of credit. Woo-hoo, because we're leaving the station. So let's say we have a $5,000 available line of credit. Okay? Brand new. Just open it. $5,000 available to me right now. I go out and buy a house. $100,000 loan. Right? Same example. Same example we've been using. $100,000, 30 years, 360 payments, 4% interest. Everybody follow me so far? Okay? Now listen. The concept is this. And feel free, watch YouTube as much as my son. He does about 4 hours a day. Okay? I can't stop it. It's like, okay, an addict. Okay? So, watch YouTube all you want, but here's what happens. Day one, day zero, as soon as I close on that loan, I'm going to take $5,000 out of that line of credit. Now my loan balance instantly is $95,000. Everybody follow that? Greg, didn't you just borrow a loan to pay off another loan at 10% versus 4%? I did. But here's what happens. If I had naturally made payments on this loan, how long would it take me to get to $95,000? 32 payments, almost 3 years. In one write of a pen, I just cut off almost 3 years of my mortgage. So hold to that thought. At $95,000, this is payment 32. If I had naturally paid my payments for 3 years, that $5,000 would have cost me $10,000 in interest. Yes. $10,000 in interest before I pay. Remember, right? I don't pay any principal these first few years, right? So that cost me over 3 years 100%. 200% actually. 200% of that principal. $5,000, right? So I had $5,000 in interest plus $5,000 in interest. That's 100% and 100%. It took me 200% in interest. So do I care if I pay 10% a year on the line of credit? No. Because, dude, it'll take me forever to get 200%, right? Freaky weird. Yeah, exactly. I spent $5,000 and I saved $10,000 in interest, right? By paying the principal while borrowing a 10% line of credit. Now here's an assumption. The assumption is I make more than I spend. If you don't do this. Run. Get your life square, quit acting crazy, and then come back. Because here's what's going to happen. Didn't I have a monthly payment now, Greg? Because I just borrowed money, don't I have a monthly payment? Absolutely. But here's why we're going to handle this. Remember, I'm sending all of my paycheck into here. Did I just cover my monthly payment by doing that? Heck yeah. Did it cost me anything? Heck no. Right? I would have sent that money into the checking account. Can I get it back? Heck yeah. Right? Remember? Because I can pay my bills. So here's what happens. The bank goes, wow, you just paid me $2,000 when you got paid today. Thank you very much. Right? I just reduced my balance by $2,000. Could I then pay bills worth $2,000? Yeah. I can just start writing bills. Right? This is what's called average daily balance. Okay? And so what happens is this. Let's say that this is dollars and time. Okay? Dollars and time. When I first draw it out, I've got a $5,000 balance, remember? Right? So that's going to sit there for a minute, maybe 2 weeks. I get paid, right? So let's say I get paid $2,000. That balance is now going to be $3,000, isn't it? Okay? I'm going to let that sit for a minute because I want the average daily balance to sit down here for a minute. Then I'm going to start paying my bills. The balance is going to start to grow again. Now, if you're careful, what's nice is what I just figured out today by trying to explain this to myself so I can teach y'all, is if you pay your bills right before you get paid again, okay, so that your balance doesn't climb until right before you get paid again, right, then the average daily balance is very, very small on this, right? Because then it drops back down another $2,000, doesn't it? Remember, I'm earning more than I'm spending, so this trend line goes down, doesn't it? Right? Over time, that trend line is going to go down because I'm not ever getting back up to $5,000 because every paycheck and every bill I'm getting lower and lower and lower. Does that make sense to everybody?
No.
Why not?
Because we're math stupid.
Okay, listen.
I've heard this 5 times. I'm still not with it.
Okay, now listen. Okay,
When you go in and you first get your mortgage, you're assuming that your value, you'll
Give
get
her
a
the
90%
microphone. We can't hear.
90% loan to value or 100% loan to value common right now in real estate.
right.
And you'll get an equity line right above.
Okay. Do I have a credit card? Is a credit card like a line of credit? Yeah. Can you pay bills with your credit card? That's right. Any short-term revolving credit works. A line of credit. Doesn't have to be a home equity line. Right? If it's a home equity line, my percentage rate might be 4%, 5%, not 10. If it's a credit card, it might be 18. The point is, it's a revolving line. That's the criteria. I get money in and out. It's revolving. Anytime I want it, I can pay my bills, and I can make a payment anytime I want. Okay? That's the main criteria. This same strategy works for paying off a credit card. What if? That's not the important part. The important part is, do I have a revolving line? Can I pay bills with it anytime I want, and can I make a deposit anytime I want?
But you're saying we're sending your paycheck to the line of credit.
Yeah. As soon as that thing hits your checking account, either make an internet move or write a check, send it out. Get the whole thing over there. Okay? Because our goal is to keep the average daily balance down. Okay? Because that's how the interest is calculated. So you're not paying 10% on $5,000. Right? Because you're only at $5,000 at the very, very beginning. When you make a paycheck, it comes down to $3,000 because you got paid for $2,000. Right? So for this time, it's calculating every day your average daily balance. So you're keeping that balance down low. So I don't care if it's 18, 20%. I don't really care because my cost of interest over time is a lot lower than that. Do you follow that now?
And the goal of doing that is to get your principal balance down on your $100,000.
On the $100,000 loan. Get as soon as possible. I mean, do it today. Boom, done. That way, 30 years from now, you're not paying as much interest. And it's not going to be 30 years. Right? Assuming you stay in the house, assuming, right? You don't refinance, cash back out. I mean, do something stupid, right? You want to keep that thing in. Go. You got a question?
Yeah. All right. So I understand the loan, right? You're bringing down the value left to pay on the loan. What I don't follow is percentage return. So if you have 4% on your house loan, You bring that from 195, you're getting out 5. Now your APR goes up on 5 to 10%. So now you're adding essentially 7% extra. So how are we saving money? Like that's
Because
the part I'm
look,
not following.
because let's say that I can save $500 a month to keep the math simple. Okay? Let's say I can save $500 a month. Is that okay? All right? Difference between my pay and my expenses. How long does it take me to get rid of this $5,000 loan? 10 months. Add a little interest, add a little like I didn't quite save 500. Let's call it a year. I'm done with $5,000 in a year. Right? And it's not calculated at 10% on 5,000. It's actually calculated on an average daily balance, which runs like this. Okay? It's not calculated on here. It's calculated here. So really, your average daily balance might start at like 4 and start stepping down. So I didn't even spend $500 in interest, because if 10% of 5,000 over a year is $500. I saved $10,000. I spent $500. That is amazing. Freaking amazing. Everybody should go, woo-hoo. Okay? Everybody clap the neighbor and say, I love Velocity Banking. Woo! I love Velocity Banking. Okay? That is a miraculous math. Okay? Now if you looked at compounded interest to compounded interest, you're exactly right. But that's not how this is calculated. The other thing is that it is a cash flow neutral transaction, because I'm not paying the monthly payment just out of my pocket. I paid my entire paycheck into here, which covered the monthly payment. Okay? So there is no real minimum monthly payment. See that? If you have a credit card sitting out there, you got to pay it. But if you went ahead and paid more than that, they're like, I'm good. And then draw it back out again. You can do the same thing with a credit card. You can just send your entire paycheck to a credit card and then pay your bills out of it, go get groceries, and they're like, I'm good, man. You don't owe me another payment. You paid me this month. Oh, yeah, I'm about to draw it back out. Watch this. Whoop. Right? And that's a hoo-hoo right there. Okay? So this could be applied to a mortgage or directly to a credit card that's overdue, right? Having problems. This is cool. Now watch this. What happens, that's a technical term, by the way. Rocket science is term cool. Okay? That's very technical. What happens when I get to 0 right here? I've just said I could do it in about a year. There's some assumptions. Maybe it's 18 months. Maybe it's even 2 years. I saved 3 years off the freaking mortgage. Do it again. Rock it out, baby. $5,000 out here. What happens over here? Now listen, that first draw was on day 1. The second draw is after just 1 year, right? Because I paid it off. I assumed I could pay it off in a year. So I'm just 1 year into this loan. 1 year. I hit it for another $5K. I'm at $90,000 right now. Okay? And so now I'm down to about here somewhere. You know what month that is? I've already done the math. Guess. Not quite. It's not 64 because remember, my principal is like coming up anyway. It's growing anyway, so I don't quite get double. But it is 62, baby. I'm at 5 years and 2 months in 1 year. I just took that 30-year down to a 20 or 25. I just carved out 5 years in 1 year. It cost me $500-ish in interest. It saved me over $20,000 in interest. Can I hear an amen? Yeah. Yeah, but look at this. Even if I sell the house after 2 years, I've done save myself $20,000 in interest to get it to here, and I've reduced my principal by 10. Okay? I've reduced it. So now my amortization schedule, even if I stay for 5 years, is steeper up here than it was back here. You see that? So even if I stay the average of 5 to 7 years, I've helped myself because I'm growing faster and faster. And during that year, did I make payments on my mortgage? Yes. Right? So I already made payments on this section right here, so that's why I grew even faster. Right? It's still saving you the cost of the money. right? Because to get to this point, I saved my money. And it didn't cost me much. Okay? Yes.
If you rolled that line of credit every year, how many years would you take off that 30 years?
I could be down in 7. I could be done in 7. That's the way it works. Yeah. So, done in 7 years. Take that 30-year loan and done in 7. How much did I save? I didn't run it out, but it's a lot. I was going to spend $70,000 in interest. Okay? So I think I got it figured out to where I only spend like $20,000 in interest. I think I saved like $50,000 in interest. Now you're cooking. Okay? Now you're cooking. Maybe it cost you a couple $1,000s in the line of credit interest. Okay? Now, listen. Blow your own mind. Can I do that in the rental properties?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Guess what I'm about to start this week? This right here. I'm signing my papers on Thursday to get my line of credit against a rental property, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to rent park. All the rent is going into the credit line, and the expenses are coming out. And in fact, I'm doing it on a free and clear property to pay off some not free and clear property. So I'm going to shuffle like this.
So say you open up a line of credit for $100,000 and you buy a rental property for $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then you basically just let the tenant pay that interest and you have.
Yep, speaking to Mr. Microphone. That way the folks in Never Never TV land out there can hear you.
So I said, so you open up a line of credit for $100,000 and you buy a $100,000 rental house. So you're letting your tenant pay your line of credit payment, and then any cash flow that comes in, you're rolling right back into the.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Can we FaceTime too? Okay, it's my builder. Awesome. I hope his house is done. So, Ken, make sure the house is done. So listen, that's what I ask him every time he calls me. Is the house done yet? So that's how he loves me. So listen, do I want to? Yes, that's why he calls Lori, because I'm very sarcastic. I only have one question of my builders. Is the house done? Otherwise, I really don't care why they're calling me. All right, so listen. Do I want to put any of my own money into my rentals? No. So I don't do paycheck parking or want to put any of my own money into a rental repayment. You got that? This is all rental income. Now, I would probably not necessarily buy it with a line of credit. I would still try to get long-term money. Here's why. Is this risky? Remember, the rule is you got to earn more than you spend, right? You also don't want to get crazy. Don't get crazy because you want it to be manageable. You want to just go out and get a $100,000 line of credit and just blow it out day one and then be exposed that way? Maybe not. Okay? $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. Find your comfort zone and play with it and see what it does. So I like long-term money to buy, but then this strategy to pay that puppy off. Because here's what happens. If the unit goes vacant, right, or if I lose my job, could I stop this pretty easy? Right? It's manageable. A couple more months, I'll be paid off. It'll be gone. Right? Even go into monthly payment